So this CSS works good for these particular icons. But if we look at our design, down at the bottom right-hand corner, we have some additional circle icons. And there's some major differences between these and these icons. They're smaller, and they seem to have a little bit less padding around the outside. So I'm curious, should these icons here and these icons here be considered the same component, but using different subcomponents? Or should they be completely separate components? That is, should we consider both of these icon circles and try to find a system where we can adjust the size of the circle and the size of the padding, but still retain the circle shape? Well, I think that's a good question, and one that doesn't have an obvious answer. The geek in me wants to find what's similar between the two and figure out a system where we can easily spin up circular icons of different shapes and colors so they're very easy to add in later on for other pages. On the other hand, we might actually discover that these two things have a lot less in common than we think. Sure, they happen to be circles, and sure, they happen to have icons in them, but their role is different, their location is different, their colors are different, sizes are different, paddings are different. So perhaps it makes sense to treat these as two separate subcomponents and prevent ourselves from getting sucked into some kind of geeky time sink, trying to discover the unifying principle that links these together. By keeping these separate, it will also be easier to adjust the look and feel of one of them without inadvertently affecting the other. So this time, I'm going to keep my geek at bay. So let's take that thinking a step further. Maybe these shouldn't be components at all, but instead should be elements within other components. Right now, the only time we're using these circle icons is in the context, if we scroll up, of these icon boxes here. And the only context we're using these circle icons down here is in the lower right-hand footer. So perhaps we should just make these elements inside of our existing components. So let's go ahead and take that approach. In the future, we can always pull these out into their own individual components if we find we want to use them in other places. But right now we just don't have any indication that we will want to, even though our intuition might be telling us differently.